Yash, Pooja, Kinjal, Madhu, Riddhi, Jessica. Awesome. So many of you are here today. Okay, so this is Ramanuj Mukherjee from LawSikho. I'm the CEO of LawSikho, and I do these sessions almost every day, right? So especially this month, I have decided that I'll do these sessions every day at 9 p.m. And there are a lot of exciting sessions ahead. Hi Devapriya, Kshitij, Shahjahan, Adil, Kshitij. So many familiar faces, people who log in every day. Awesome. Harish, how are you doing? Great. So thank you everyone for joining. Okay. I'm going to share my PPT now so that you guys can see what is on cards today, right? What work do you get to do as a corporate lawyer? Today's topic, right? So how many of you want to be a corporate lawyer? If you want to be a corporate lawyer, write yes in the chat, right? There are several of you. Oh, I have to rename myself just a second. Okay. So you guys want to work in corporate law, right? So that's so amazing. How many of you are already working? Is there anyone who's already working in a corporate law firm? If yes, just write already so that I know, yes, you are already working in a corporate law firm. Is there anybody? Just write already if you're working in a corporate law firm already. Okay. Okay, how many of you are law students and how many of you are lawyers? If you're a student, write student in the chat box. If you're a lawyer, write lawyer. Okay, yeah, there are a few lawyers also amongst us. I'll just quickly get my... Right. Awesome. Very good. Super. Most of you are law students. There are a few lawyers with us also, which is amazing. All right. Okay, time to begin, guys, right? So let's start with our presentation about what work you get to do as a corporate lawyer, right? Okay. So anybody knows anything about this topic? What do corporate lawyers do? Who knows? Is there anybody who knows already? Tell me, what do you know? If you know something about the work of corporate lawyers, quickly tell me. All right. Let's start the presentation. Hi, Madhavan. Welcome to the session. There are some people watching this on YouTube also. The chat is open. Please interact on the chats, okay? Let's jump in with our presentation. What is the most attractive, glamorous, well-paid profession as a lawyer, okay? And, today I know better. Like, now I think there are a lot of options. If you want to be a successful lawyer, you can even practice in a district court in a small town and make 2 lakh rupees per month, okay, handling your own clients. And that I also think pretty awesome. There are a lot of options, but generally the consensus is, especially when I was in a law school, I was in a college, right? In the college, I knew only one, and everybody was in love with this idea that they want to work in a big law firm, right? So even before people join the law school, law college, these days they hear it from their coaching centers where they are preparing for CLAT, that if you get into these top law schools, you can get a job in a big law firm, okay? A job where they'll pay you 1.5 lakh rupees salary just when you graduate from your college. Have you heard of that? Anybody? You heard of these stories, right? As a law aspirant, or even in your college, that how AZB, Cyril Amarchand, Shardul Amarchand, Trilegal, JSA, Luthra and Luthra, these firms pay you 1.5 lakhs per month salary, right? Have you heard of that? Anybody? Do people talk about that in your college, in your campus, anywhere? Do you hear about these things? Yes, right? So, and it is so exciting and so glamorous. It feels like it is another different world where these amazing lawyers are doing this amazing work. And in fact, not only that, when I was at NUJS, I was reading these books, okay, about US law firms, okay, and how, I wrote books like Barbarians at the Gate. There's a movie also on this book. Then there's a book called Predator's Ball. I read that book, and read these amazing stories about these deal lawyers in the US and the amazing work they do, and it felt all very glamorous and amazing. And some of you have watched Suits and what is that? Boston Legal. Okay, anybody here watch Suits? Just say yes. I love Suits, so that's awesome. Correct? Harvey Specter. Yeah, Alan Shore. Anybody knows Alan Shore? Okay, yeah. So awesome, right? Jessica, right? So getting a corporate job at a top law firm was considered the most attractive career option after graduation. Okay, so when I was in college, and I'm sure even today, according to you, what is the most glamorized and attractive option after graduating? What do you think? What is the most hyped career option? That if you can get this, it is best. What do you hear when you are in college? Corporate law. Okay, I don't know. If somebody hears something else, I'd love to hear. Okay, I'm not saying corporate lawyer is the only best career. I think even litigation is amazing. You can be a good lawyer in the Supreme Court and so many things. But there is a charm of corporate law, and judiciary, sure, that's also a great option. But working in tier 1 law firms, corporate law, somewhere everybody has this desire in their mind that they want to go work in a top tier 1 law firm, right? So when I graduated, I already had started a startup. I really wanted to do a startup, but I was also very attracted that I also want to go and see how a big law firm works, what happens there. I want to see the world. And that's how it felt. And so I went and joined Trilegal for 1 year, and I worked only for 1 year. Then I left and started my startup. Been doing that for 10 years now. But back then, it was super attractive and I wanted to do this. And even before I set foot in a law firm, it was almost like in the air that if you are good, you get into a law firm. If you're very good, you get into a foreign law firm. There are many people from my college who got into foreign law firms in London. London law firms came and picked up students from my college, and the toppers and all of that, Linklaters, Allen and Overy, there are more like S.J. Barwin and White and Case. No, you never saw White and Case recruiting from Indian law firms. Harvard Smith, yeah, correct. Ashurst, okay, Clifford Chance, they all recruited my batchmates. So even before law aspirants get into college, they hear stories about how big law firms pay 1.5 lakhs to fresh graduates. Very few people get into foreign law firms, right? Clifford Chance, Ashurst, Harvard Smith, but more people are getting into Indian law firms, right? So that is the thing we hear about, and this is very, very common. It's like mythology, right? Everywhere you are studying law, you're like, corporate law firms give you so much money. Law firm partners get 1 crore salary, right? So many aspires to be a corporate lawyer. Many people want to be a corporate lawyer. How many of you here who aspire to be a corporate lawyer? If yes, just say yes in the chat. And if you don't want to aspire, say no, I don't want to be a corporate lawyer, right? Just write no if you're not interested in being a corporate lawyer. But if you're here in this session, I'm guessing most of you, you want to be a corporate lawyer. And the people who don't want to didn't join this session, so everyone is saying yes. So, all right. So now let's proceed, right? So they want to get those jobs that pay so well, bring recognition of working with top clients, and provide security, right? This is what most of you want. So what attracts you about law firm jobs? Mostly is that, okay, I'll get paid really well, tons of money. Then I want to work with like top clients. Like, imagine like one of my senior had told me that, oh my God, I did this internship with Amarchand back then. And then every day I open the Economic Times newspaper, I see the deals I worked on are mentioned there, right? It's such a great feeling. You open the financial newspaper and whatever you are working on is mentioned there. So cool, right? Like your work is making news, right? It's a great feeling. And then provide security. Security, not that they'll not fire you. This is not like a government job that you can't get fired easily, right? You can get fired like that. But what happens, the security is that if you are working with such big brands, then getting the next job is not so difficult. If you have worked with AZB, then if you go to tell a smaller firm, it's much easier. You have a tag, whatever, it's just easier, even if you got fired for that matter, right? Or even if you can tell clients that, look, I worked with AZB for 2-3 years, people assume that you must be really good if you worked with such a law firm. So it gives you a security that people assume, like, it's like working, it's the same as like going to a NLU. So if you go to National Law School, Bangalore, NUJS and Ulster, people assume that there is some eliteness, there is some tag with you. And many of you, if you're not from NLU, you must be despising that, right? That why should they have tag? We don't have tag. But this is the point, that many people associate tags. And if you get to work in a very good law firm, then people sort of start with an assumption that you might be very good. They will still test you. If you can't work, nothing is going to happen. But at least they're going to pay a little more attention to you, assume something good about you, that if you have worked at a top law firm, that much security you can get, that people will have a good opinion of you because you worked in a good law firm in the future. So not only law student, but a lot of litigators also want to switch to law firms if given a choice. Is there anyone here who's a lawyer practicing, maybe litigation, maybe something else, but they want to move to a law firm, right? We even know examples where people who are in judiciary, they worked as judges, but they quit their job and joined law firms. There are examples, more than one, okay? And there are people who have been working at, for example, people who have been IAS officers, IRS officers, they have quit their jobs and become lawyers. Multiple examples, partners in big law firms, right? So there are many such people. Now, that is also there. So is there anybody here who's doing something else, not a law student, already working, but you want to become switch to a law firm and earn more money, or whatever reason, or do that kind of work? Is there anybody here that you are doing something already, maybe a lawyer, but you want to work in a law firm if possible? Is there anybody like this? Just try to say yes. Yeah, right? So many people, right? Great. So let's move to the next one, next slide, right? How can you get such a job, right? So now we're going to talk about how can you get these kind of jobs. What work do corporate lawyers do, right? How can I get the job is actually the wrong question to ask, okay? If you're asking, how can I get such a job? It's a wrong question to ask, okay? Why is it the wrong question? You'll understand in a moment, okay? The first question you should be asking is this: what work do corporate lawyers do? Okay, does that make any sense to you? What work do corporate lawyers do? Because if you understand the work corporate lawyers do, that is step one of your understanding of what you need to develop to get the job, right? If you start by asking how to get the job, you get the wrong answers. That is not going to help you. What you need to first understand is that what is the work of corporate lawyers, okay? Not that is one question, but there are more questions. What would a day in a corporate law firm look like? So if you're working as a corporate lawyer in that law firm, what would the day will look like? Kshitij is asking how to survive in the job. Even better question, right? Okay. What would a day look like? Who will I report to? Who will be my boss? What does the hierarchy look like, right? Like who's my boss? Who's my boss's boss, right? I need to understand this entire hierarchy of a law firm and what will be my place in that hierarchy. What would take me to succeed in a law firm? In this environment of a law firm, I will have a certain job. What would it take me to succeed in this job? This is also a very important question that you must answer. What would it take to grow in the job, right? There are people who will grow, there are people who will not grow. What does it take? The people who grow, what are they doing differently? How will your responsibilities change over time if you grow within a corporate law firm, right? If you're growing within the law firm, then how will your responsibilities change over time? Who would be your clients and what do they expect from you? Right? Very, very important question. Who would be your clients? What kind of clients will you solve? What do they want from their lawyers? These are important questions to ask and find answers to. Then only you'll be able to survive in the job. Right, Kshitij? Okay. Let this webinar be the step, okay, for you to start putting your thinking cap and trying to map it out in your own mind that how is it that you are going to do these things and what are the answers to these questions, right? So let's jump in, right? So even if you're planning to sit in a corporate law interview anytime in the future, this would be really useful. Our discussion will be very useful. So are you guys ready? Are you ready to start? Who's ready to start? If you are ready to start, write yes in the chat. Quick, quick, quick. I want to see some yeses. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, what you should do to make the best out of this platform of this webinar, right now I see there are 80 people in this session, right? I'll encourage you to share your LinkedIn profiles in the chat, connect with each other, introduce yourself. Okay. Why am I saying this? Because all of you are here. Basically, all of you are going in the same direction, looking for corporate law jobs. Many of you will be landing corporate law jobs. Being professionally connected you'll be able to help each other, right? So quickly share your LinkedIn profiles in the chat, okay? And add each other, right? If you don't like someone later, you can always disconnect, block, doesn't matter, right? But at least right now, try to connect with each other and maybe you'll be able to help each other. It is always possible that you would be useful for each other, right? Hi, Nritika. I see so many familiar faces. So good to see you. Many of you have done great internships and almost about to get a job, I can see. Okay, so connect with each other, okay? Introduce yourself with your network, and this is a great opportunity to network with like-minded professionals. I'll also share my own profile so that those of you who want to stay connected with me can do so, right? Here is my profile. Just a second, guys. Here you go. This is my profile. This is my Twitter profile. Please do join me on Twitter. And you know what happens is that if you're on my Twitter, then we can stay connected and you can even ask me questions on Twitter and I'll be happy to answer those, right? So that'll be awesome. So here, okay. All right, so let's jump back to our presentation. Somebody saying, I don't have LinkedIn account. Create one, make a LinkedIn account. What are you waiting for? It's the greatest opportunity, guys. Make a LinkedIn account, post every day, make a Twitter account, post every day, connect with all other lawyers. This is how you will become more visible. So all those people you are connecting with here today, right? So now imagine that you share the insights you'll be learning in this session. So many people will see it. You will like each other's post. It will help you, okay? And create, and it's brilliant. Like, if somebody is studying with us at LawSikho, our clients, we are always encouraging our clients to be active on LinkedIn because it helps them to get noticed, find their own clients, find opportunities, right? It's brilliant. It's like, it's a wonder of the world, LinkedIn for you, right? If you are looking for a corporate law work, it is just miracle for you. Make a brilliant profile on LinkedIn and you have like a big asset on your side. So let's jump in, but we'll do another session on LinkedIn someday. And there I will tell you how to do amazingly with your LinkedIn profile, but not today. So first, let's start with what are the different kinds of law firms? What are the different kind of law firms? Anybody here who can answer these questions in the chat? What are the different kinds of law firms, guys? Tier 1, 2, 3, okay. Rishabh is saying that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 law firms. Boutique and full service. Nizrika, very good, very good. Boutique law firms, full service law firms. There are different law firms like IPR law firm, arbitration law firm, public and private. What is a public law firm, guys? Private, all a private law firm. There's no government law firm, right? Okay. M&A, JV, competition law firm, Magic Circle law firm. Good. Okay. So you gave the answers correct already. There are full service law firms and boutique law firms. What is the difference? What is a full service law firm and what is a boutique law firm? This is one primary difference, right? Full service law firms and boutique law firms. Sashwatadeep, what is a full service law firm? And what is a boutique law firm? Full service law firms they provide all services, right? They are saying that, look, whatever work you need, we are here to help you, right? Whatever you need, we have different practice areas. We are a large firm. We cater to all your needs. That is a full service law firm, right? We have partners with different expertises. Whatever you need, we are here. You don't have to go to any other law firm. Boutique law firms, on the other hand, are law firms which are saying that, look, we don't do each and everything in the world. We do only one thing, but that one thing we do really, really well. We are brilliant at it and we are better than everybody else at this one thing, right? So those are boutique law firms. Okay, sometimes full service law firms, you think it's a big law firm, it is charging a lot of money. Boutique law firms charge even more than that, even more than full service law firms. Why can they do so? Because they do the best work in that niche. They have the best reputation in that niche. Even a full service law firm, big law firm doesn't have the same reputation or same kind of expertise in that area. And there are many such examples. Okay. So can you give me some examples of full service law firms? Which are some of the full service law firms? LNL Partners, Luthra and Luthra. Trilegal, Sam Cam Khaitan, full service. Yeah. And many small law firms are many smaller law firms are also there, which are full service, right? They may be smaller law firm, but they are full service. Fox and Mandal, Dua Associates, Anand and Anand is, Anand and Anand is IP law firm, boutique law firm. Okay. So anyway, so Sai Krishna, but Sai Krishna is primarily again known to be an IP law firm primarily. But yeah, I don't know if they say they are full service. Maybe possible. Some law firms started as a boutique and then become a full service law firm. Like Lakshmi Kumaran started as a tax law firm, boutique law firm, but now it's full service. They have every area of practice. Okay, Vash started as a tax law firm, but I think now they are full service. Phoenix, okay. So they are full service law firms. Now, can you give me some boutique law firms? What are the very well-known boutique law firms? Latham Watkins, sure, full service. AK Law Chambers, very good. AK Law Chambers, well known for arbitration work. Remfree and Sagar, IP law. Argus, I think Argus is also full service now. Lal and Sethi, correct, IP law firm, boutique, right? Fidus, I don't know. Fidus, don't know very well about them. Veritas, I think is full service. Spicy IP is not a law firm, it's a blog. Okay. So, very well-known boutique law firms, I would say 𝘂𝗽𝗀𝗃𝗃 Law, right? 𝘂𝗽𝗃𝗃 is doing technology law boutique work, right? Baran IP, sure, Anand and Anand IP, the most well-known IP law firm, right? Spice Root is a law firm. They are Ovan and Associates, right? Desai and Devanji is a full-service law firm. Okay, so basically, full-service law firms provide different services, but boutique law firms are relying on one or two service areas and practice areas, and they are like, look, we are very good at this one or two things. SNG, sure. Okay, so and many boutique law firms eventually try to become full service. When they're very successful boutique law firm, they might decide that, okay, the way for us to grow now is to become a full service law firm and add new practice areas, which also they successfully do. All right. So tier 1, tier 2 law firms are there, right? So what are another way to look at law firms is that there is tier 1 law firm, tier 2 law firm, tier 3 law firm. I don't know, tier 4, tier 5, what else is there? I'm not sure. But that is also another way to look at law firms, right? And it is about prestige. It is about how big your law firm is, how much they pay to people. Most of the time, if somebody is paying a lot of money to freshers, entry-level lawyers paying big salaries, then they are more likely to be called tier 1 or tier 2 or so on, rather than law firms which don't pay as well, right? Pay as much. So now the question is that, is it possible to move from a small law firm? If you get a job in a small law firm, is it possible to move from there to a big law firm later? Absolutely. This I associate. Ritika, that is I mean, are you asking what? So it's not considered a tier 1 law firm, but I think it should be considered a tier 1 law firm, or maybe there are some law firms which are considered tier 2. But I think it's just a market perception moves slowly. They are as good as any tier 1 law firm, in my opinion. But my opinion is my opinion. You may not care about my opinion, right? So Indus Law, NDA, these some Nissidhis Associates, some of these law firms, I think, on the brink of being called a tier 1 law firm, but still tier 2, right? So is it possible to move from a small law firm to a big law firm later? It happens all the time, and I'll tell you how later on. Okay. Now, you have to keep in mind that it doesn't really matter whether it is a big law firm, small law firm. Okay, all the law firms often are doing same work. Sure, they are paying different amount of salary, but overall, I think that your earnings kind of tend to converge. If you are a good lawyer in your area, you can start from a small law firm and then do very well. You can move to a big law firm. You can become very influential lawyer in your area of work. You can start your own law firm. There are a hell lot of different ways in which you can make tons of money. So it is something that you should not be caring too much about right in the beginning. Even when I was joining, I was super conscious that, oh, I want to join a tier 1 law firm, not tier 2, not tier 3. But it doesn't matter. I didn't even intern at a tier 2 law firm ever. I didn't even consider it. I thought it is beyond my, I am like high pedigree. I should go to only top law firm. But I think that's not a very smart thing. I was dumb back then. Okay. So you should, there are a lot of smaller law firms, boutique law firms, where you can get amazing opportunities, amazing mentorship. You can grow faster. Okay. So nothing like that, right? So keep an open mind. And when we are talking about this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, don't create this in your mind that, oh, I have to get into only a tier 1 law firm and not a tier 2, not tier. If I get in tier 3, then I'm bad. And the guy who's getting in tier 1 is better than me and smarter than me, right? All these things you should not be thinking. It is very stupid. Okay. So it is fine to join a boutique law firm. It is fine to join a full service law firm. It is great if you get in a tier 1 law firm. It is also great if you get in tier 3 law firm or tier 4, whatever law firm. As long as it has good work, it has good partners, it has smart lawyers where you can learn more, where you can grow faster. Now, if some law firm doesn't have clients only, you can't do anything. It has really bad clients. They have bad management. They are not good at getting work. They don't have high standard of, that's a different case. Okay. But otherwise, it does not harm if you start your practice at a very good boutique law firm, very good small law firm with great seniors. It's fantastic. Okay. With high standards. Work with people with high standards. That should be your target and nothing else. Okay. If you work with a really terrible partner in a big law firm, which happens sometimes, then it is not good. But if you work with an amazing partner, thought leader, amazing smart lawyer in a small law firm, it might be the best thing for your career. Okay. So keep this in mind. So now, before we talk about anything more, anything else, any further, I think we need to discuss what are the different practice areas in law firm. You need to understand different kind of practice areas. Adil Khan is saying pay scale is very low in smaller law firms, but Adil, remember, don't worry about how much you earn in year 1 or year 2. I have seen people who have moved as my senior from smaller law firms. They were working in a law firm getting paid 30,000. Then worked there for 3-4 years, started handling their clients independently, then moved to a big law firm. Now today I know people who work in such a law firm, handle their own clients, start their own law firm after 3-4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and make tons of money. So if you are only focusing on how much you are making in the first year, that is not smart. It is about how fast you can handle your own clients. We'll come to all this later. how fast you can handle your own clients, how fast you can build your own client roster, your own book, how soon you become an authority in your practice area. Remember, if you're in a big law firm, right, money is not secondary. Even if you make money primary, even then it might sense to make more money that you join a smaller law firm. I'm not saying it will always happen. I'm just saying it is possible. And sometimes you're in a big law firm, your partner is a big shot in the industry. All the good work happening by your team, the partner is getting all the credit. Nobody knows you, right? You are under the umbrella. It's like under a banyan tree, no brands grow. Similarly, in a big law firm, very often they don't want you to grow a brand because they know the moment you grow a brand, you can live on your own and make a lot of money. So they want you to not grow a brand. Whereas a smaller law firm might allow you to grow your own brand. A smaller law firm might allow you to have your own clients. A smaller law firm, if you are really good at developing business, might support you to go and get your own clients. You will not believe it. In the mid-level and at partner level, at salaried partner level, sometimes people make less money in a big law firm and more money in a smaller law firm. I am not kidding you. Okay. It sounds incredible, but this is true, that a lot of time a tier 2 law firm is paying more to a principal associate or somebody who's about to become a partner or a new partner than a big law firm. Okay, I don't want to take any names, but this is true. Insiders know that this is true. Okay, so don't worry about all this in the beginning. Okay, it might be a good thing that happened to you that you joined a smaller law firm and you didn't get into a big law firm. Okay. All right. So what are the different kind of practice areas that are there? Okay. General corporate and M&A. General corporate, you must have heard. General corporate is a practice area. It's a catch-all phrase for a lot of different things. Okay. No taxation, Swati. No taxation. General corporate. Okay. And generally with general corporate comes transactional practice, M&A, merger and acquisitions, investment law. So merger and acquisitions, you understand, right? Two companies merging, one company buying another company, listed companies getting bought, acquired, private companies, unlisted private companies getting bought, and all sorts of things, right? JV, joint venture, right? Tata and Starbucks is a joint venture in India, right? So there are joint ventures, M&A, merger and acquisition. These are deals. Then investment deals. So investment, usually there are two kinds of investment. One is private equity, financial investment, private equity and venture capital. Okay. So there are venture capital investment happening, private equity investment happening. Some investments are strategic investments. Okay. Which is not neither PE nor VC, but strategic investment, like Google invested in a company, Amazon invested in a company. These are strategic investment. This also happens a lot. So M&A, big area of work. Investment, big area of work. Then banking and finance. So M&A and investment lawyers are usually the same team is doing M&A and investment law work. Okay. M&A, VC, venture capital, PE, all these things. Okay. So these are transactions. There are other transactions also. Banking and finance also a transaction. Now in M&A, in PE, VC investment or investment law overall, people are doing buying equity, right? Investors, acquirers are buying equity, but that is equity related work. But another type of work is debt. So there are two kinds of capital in corporate world. It is either debt capital or equity capital. Equity we just talked about areas. The other is debt. So companies which need finance might raise a loan, right? Another way to raise money is to get a loan. So different kinds of loans are there. But banking and finance is a team. In big law firms, they have large teams which is handling these loan transactions. What is the full form of PE? Private equity. Private equity investors, venture capital investors. Okay. So banking and finance. So banking and finance, also a transaction, but instead of equity transaction, this is a debt transaction. Okay. I'll come to IPR. Hold your horses, Kshitij. Listen to me. Then you will be able to follow. If you keep asking weird questions, you will not understand anything. Okay, follow what I'm saying. Very important to understand. So we had one area we understood, that investment M&A, and then what is equity? Equity is when you are buying shares of a company, it is equity investment. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, you are buying shares, selling shares, it is an equity transaction. Okay, but when you are taking loan, so when you are, it is an equity investment, you are investing money in the company, you're not giving a loan. So you don't have any right to get interest. You have a right to get a share in the profit if the company makes profit. But if the company makes losses, you get nothing. But when you are giving a loan, then your return is fixed. You get this much interest, right? But you have a right to get that money whether the business succeeds or fails, whether it makes profit or it makes losses, you'll get your money. So that is banking and finance. And banking and finance, you're getting a loan, right? So then there is projects. This is another area of transactional work. Projects are also a huge area of practice for corporate lawyers. Okay, so there are, for example, a port is being set up by the government, or a high road is being made. Okay, or a bridge is being made. All of these can be different models are there. PPP, private public partnership, right? And then there are different models, turnkey projects, this, that. So there are transaction documents, concession agreements. So there are maybe a power plant is being set up. These are projects. And there is a special kind of corporate lawyer who work on these things. And they are called projects lawyers, projects practice. Okay, it's a huge area of practice in corporate. So we talked about M&A, investment, banking, finance, and projects. Next is project finance. Now projects is there one area, and financing the project. So usually loans are received to finance the project. Where is the money? Where would the money come to set up an airport or whatever, right? So banks give loan, financial institutions are giving loan, NBFCs may be giving loans. So that is project finance. So financing the project, again, same loans, structuring of loans, anyway, work I will talk about later on. What is the exact work? This is another major area of work, project finance. Okay. Then there is funds formation. We talked about, you remember, private equity, venture capital. So these funds are raising a lot of money from their investors called limited partners, LPs. So they are raising money also, $100 million, $1 billion, hedge funds, right? So all these different funds, investment funds, that is also a lot of work. And funds formation and their compliance is also a specialized area of work done by some lawyers. So usually big law firms have a team called funds formation. Okay. Then capital markets. Funds formation is still a small area of work. One major area of work is capital markets. Okay. Have you any of you heard of this term, capital markets? What happens in capital markets? So far we talked about private companies, right? Private companies getting money, investment, whatever. Now, if you are a listed company, you want to get investment from public, you want to do an IPO, okay? You want to list in the stock exchange. So that is capital markets work. And there is a lot of work for capital markets, huge transactions, lot of work, right? So that is another area of work called capital markets, okay? Then there is transactional law practice. Okay, these are the different areas of transactional law practice of a law firm. Okay, there is more than transactional law practice, of course. Okay, where did it go? There were many slides before. Okay, so it is important to think that who would be your clients in each of these practice areas, right? IBC will fall somewhere else in none of these. What we discussed, it does not fall in any of these. IBC is just different. Now, guess who would be your clients in each of these practice areas? This is corporate law, right? Just guess. If you are a very easy here, like think of banking and finance practice area. Who will be your client? Projects. Who will be your client? M&A. Who will be your client? Investment law. Who would be your client? Investment practice. Who will be your client? Capital markets, who will be your client? Funds formation, who will be your client? Right? You need to think of this. I'll come back to this. Take your guesses, not just businesses generally, Ritika. Try to think. In projects, who's your client? Who can be your client in a projects practice? Right? Now, there are other practice areas. These are called niche practice areas. And even big law firms, full service law firms have these practice areas. And some niche law firms are there. They have these practice areas. Okay, IP, tax, competition, employment, corporate investigations, white collar crime, media, okay, technology, and there are more. It can be many different things. Okay, project Adani Group. Yes, sure, it can be a client. Adani Group can be a client for projects, right? If you are setting up an airport, sure, GVK, GVR, I don't know, all these people who are setting up greenfield airports, brownfield airports, right? So, okay, now so we'll get back to that later. But the idea is that there are other practice areas also. Now, the work in the niche areas is totally different than the corporate practice areas we discussed. So when I'm talking about what is the work that corporate lawyers are doing today, we are not talking about these niche practice areas, right? It won't get covered. What would get covered? All the corporate transactional law practice we discussed. That is what we'll be covering today. I am human only. I cannot cover everything in this one webinar. So remember that we're going to talk about only transactional law practice. And there is also litigation and disputes. This is also a practice area. So somebody asked about IBC. Somebody asked about arbitration. So all these practice areas usually come in a disputes practice group. So law firms have a dispute practice, okay, where they have corporate litigation, they have arbitration and all sort of litigation. IBC is usually litigation work, tax litigation, IP litigation, corporate governance litigation, advisory, all this kind of work they have. So that is a different area. We are not talking about that also. We are talking about when you say corporate law does not mean company law. By the way, corporate law work means transactional law work normally. Okay, NCLT, NCLAT, this is all in the disputes practice, does not fall in the area of transactional law practice. Okay, that is also very good practice area, disputes in a law firm. But we are not talking about that today. We'll talk about that on a different day. Today we are talking about transactional law practice. So how many of you want to learn about transactional law practice and what do corporate lawyers do in transactional law practice? Because if you are you are doing disputes in a law firm, you're not a corporate lawyer, you're a disputes lawyer in a law firm. You're not a corporate lawyer, right? So we're going to talk about corporate lawyers. What do corporate lawyers do in law firms? So who all want to know about transactional law practice? What do corporate lawyers do? So just tell me yes if you want to learn quickly. Who all want to learn? Let me see who all are interested. There are 24 people listening to this on YouTube. Are you guys interested in learning? Just write in the chat, yes, do you want to hear or not? Okay. 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 So thank you. So a lot of you want to learn this. That's awesome. So let's start. Okay. These fundamental stages of legal work are common in most corporate law practice areas that are driven by transactions. So whether any area, whether capital markets, whether M&A, whether banking and finance, whether investment law transaction, all of these years, okay, there will be these things, right? Jessica is asking, sir, ADR and arbitration and litigation in the same practice area. It is the same practice area, Jessica. It's disputes. Okay. Usually different teams might be doing different kind of arbitration, different kind of litigation, but it is the same area. And if you are in corporate litigation, you can't say I do only arbitration and nothing else. Usually most teams are, because arbitration is such that you have to handle arbitration and some litigation also. Okay. The same client in the same matter may have some arbitration and some litigation. Okay, so you don't get to do one thing and only. Okay, but within the arbitration team and within the disputes team, not in the arbitration, within the disputes team, there can also be some divisions, and we'll talk about that divisions another day. It's a huge thing, right? It's already 9:50. I have to finish transaction law. We'll talk about that another day. So keep watching our webinars, and I'll be covering that soon enough. Okay, how would you apply for law firms during pandemic? Okay, I am not answering this question. Very good question, Ayushman, but let's stick to the topic now. Okay, we'll come to this later. So what are the fundamental stages of legal work common in all transactions? Okay, no matter what. Number one, deal structuring. Whatever the transaction will be, what does it look like? What does the deal look like? I'll give you an example. Okay, so let's say I want to buy a company, right? Okay, I decide that, okay, this company is nice. It's a competitor. If I buy this company, it will be very beneficial for my business. Okay. Now, what are my options? I can buy 51%. I can buy 100%. I can buy 10% of shares, or 15%, 25%, many different situations. Second, very important. Okay, if I am, when I'm structuring the deal, right? Very, very important. There can be a certain number of, like how do we actually affect the deal? For example, maybe, in the same transaction, am I buying the shares of from the promoters, or or is the company issuing new shares? If the company is issuing new shares, then company will get the money. Say, imagine 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃. Okay, let's say you want to, 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃 is a private limited company, and you want to invest in 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃, right? So there are two options. So in 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃, I and 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶, there are 4 co-founders, and we have shares. So one option is that you buy our shares from 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃. Then we will get the money, individuals. 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗃 won't get anything, right? But we have sold our shares, we make money, we are happy. The other option is that you are not giving us money, but 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗃 is issuing shares to the new investor, right? So the promoters are not getting anything, but the investor is getting shares, and the company is getting money. So the money is coming inside the company. So that is another option. Another option is that half, maybe there is a mix of shares being issued, and and partially, not half, maybe a part of it, a percentage of it, there is promoters selling shares. So this is one option. There are other options also, like the share that is being sold, or the share that is being bought or invested in. Is it a preference share or a common stock of the company? What special rights will come along with that share? Sometimes it is a convertible debenture. Sometimes it's a compulsorily convertible debenture. Sometimes it is non-compulsorily convertible debenture, right? So there are a whole lot of different kind of instruments that can be used, okay? And the deal has to be structured. Sometimes that, maybe Google is investing in 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗃, then Google may not directly put the money in us. It may invest through Google India, and then or maybe it sets up a new company in Mauritius, or I don't know, in some other country, to save some taxes, maybe Singapore, right? So there are many, many such examples where deals are being structured in a very smart way to save on taxes, to for other purposes, like, maybe intellectual property rights is being transferred to a different country. All kinds of deal structuring happens, and very smart lawyers are doing this work. Okay, so deal structuring is very, very important. Next is due diligence, right? Due diligence is very important next step. So when the deal is structured, by the way, remember that deal structuring is not done by junior lawyers. It is done by very senior lawyers. It is done by investment bankers and, like, the corporate honchos. They do the deal structuring. But the deal structuring is very important for you to understand. Why is it important for you to understand the deal structure? Because depending on the deal structure, all the other work happens. For example, due diligence is the next step. When the deal structuring is done, the second step will be due diligence. And in due diligence, what you are doing, okay, so if you are going to buy 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗃 as a company, you want to acquire 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗶𝗃, right? Or you are going to invest in 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃, you may want to know what is the situation with 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃 before you buy 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃, right? Has 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃 violated some tax laws, that 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃 has huge tax liabilities? Okay, has 𝘂𝗃𝗂𝗃 breached some contract that tomorrow we might have to pay a lot of damages to some party, some other counterparty? So it is important before you are investing. Let's say you are investing 1 crore in some company, right? Now you are hoping that this money will give you some returns, but your calculations can go haywire if you don't know what is happening inside the company. Are there some problems? For example, a due diligence, like while some Metas, a company called Metas, which was Satyam Group's company, when it was trying to raise money, a due diligence exposed that there was a fraud that was happening, and then Ramalinga Raju got caught, went to jail. It all happened because of due diligence. But imagine that investors bought the shares of Metas without realizing all this. Then they would have gotten screwed. Okay, because they would be in a very big problem. All their money will be lost, and it has happened to many companies later. Okay, people who have invested in companies without realizing all the problems there. So this is why before investing in any money or before buying any company, you want to do a due diligence. And how much due diligence will you do? What documents will you look at even before giving a loan? Okay, so structuring of equity transaction we talked about, but structuring also happens before a loan is given. That how the loan will be given, what will be the security for the loan, okay, who is giving guarantee, what is happening, right? What rights the bank or the lender or the NBFC will get in against lending so much money. All of that is structuring. Okay, loan is structured before, and then due diligence is done to check that, okay, is this company reliable, is everything in order, can we, and if some problematic things are found during due diligence, then the valuation company of the company may reduce, right? The valuation, maybe it was 50 crores and 15 crores of liabilities were found, it might be reduced. Or maybe the investor may decide, I don't want to invest. The bank may decide, I don't want to lend money to this guy. The acquirer company may decide that I don't want to acquire this company, it has too much problems. So that is the purpose of due diligence. And during the due diligence, you are trying to see, is there any red flag? Is there any problem? Is there any difficult situation? Okay. And by the way, I'm going to do a webinar tomorrow on due diligence, how to identify red flags in due diligence, what kind of problems happen during due diligence. So tomorrow 9 o'clock, please attend that if you want to learn about this. Okay. And you, in fact, I will share the link also with you guys, right? Just a second. Yeah. So those of you who want to learn more about due diligence, right? You must attend this webinar tomorrow. Register here, guys. Quickly go register. Okay, so that you don't miss this. Okay. So I'll be talking about due diligence, how to do due diligence and more about due diligence. So for today, we can move on from due diligence and talk about the other stuff. But you can understand that due diligence is a super duper important process, right? So we covered deal structuring, we covered due diligence. Next is documentation, contract drafting, and negotiation. So once the due diligence has happened and all the shortcomings of the company, some non-compliance, maybe some labor law they have not followed, maybe they have not done some compliance with the MCA or whatever other regulator, all of that is figured out, then the agreement is done. So it can be a loan agreement, okay, term loan agreement if you're taking a loan from the bank. It can be, facilities are there, loan facilities. If it is a banking agreement, different kind of agreements are there. Now, in case it is a investment agreement, it can be a shareholder agreement. It can be a share purchase agreement. It can be a share subscription agreement. It can be a share purchase and subscription agreement. It can be a business transfer agreement. Sometimes the deal structure is such that you are not buying any shares at all in a company. You are just buying all the assets of the company. Maybe LawSikho has a factory and you're just buying the factory as a asset. Then there's a business transfer agreement. You don't have any share purchase agreement in that case. So all depending on the deal structure, different kind of agreements have to be signed and different clauses will be there in those agreements, and then it is negotiated. So both the sides come up with their version of the agreement and then they negotiate with each other, trying to come on the same page about what the final agreement will look like, right? So this is documentation and negotiation, third stage. And where is the other stage? I think we missed one more stage is there. That is deal compliance. Okay. The next stage is deal compliance. That is the fourth stage. It's very important. And it is funny that whoever made the PPT missed it. My assistant has missed it because people forget deal compliance during the work. It's a very common reason why people get fired from law firms, because they forget to do deal compliance. They have done all the work, very happy, transaction closed. Now the fourth stage is deal compliance. If you forget to do deal compliance, then there will be huge penalty on your clients and it can make you lose your clients. So it is a very, very big problem, and junior people are interested. See, not all work in a law firm is given to junior lawyers, but due diligence is done by junior lawyers And deal compliance is definitely done by junior lawyers. And this is something that you should be able to do. If you can't do this properly, you are in deep trouble. Okay. And then you slowly learn documentation, how to negotiate, how to draft those agreements. And then you can someday, when you're senior enough, you do deal structuring, but you need to understand deal structuring from the beginning. Okay. Oh, of course, depending on the practice area, the nature of the deal, the contracts you have to draft, the nature of due diligence, and sorry for the typo, and compliance will change. Okay. So most corporate lawyers live from transaction to transaction. One transaction, then another transaction, then another transaction. And they take pride in the transactions they do. Wow, I did this huge transaction. And you will see that law firms are ranked by how many transactions they handled, or what was the deal value of this transaction. Right? Have you seen deal value tables? You can see. So all law firms are judged by how many transactions and how big those transactions were. And lawyers are, this deal lawyer always comparing the size of their deal. Oh, I handled this bigger deal. How big was your deal? Right? So they're comparing against each other all the time. And that's how they feel very happy. And it is relevant because how much money they make depends on what a big deal they worked on. Right? Okay. So initially you have different kind of responsibilities, but as you grow in a law firm and you're able to hang on to your job and grow in your stature in the law firm, you get bigger and bigger responsibilities. In smaller law firms, you get bigger responsibilities earlier in your career, as there are no layers of senior above you. Okay. So if you're working in a big law firm, there are many, many levels of seniors on top of you. Whereas if you're working in a small law firm, there may be only one level of seniors. So in a small law firm, they want you to become independent quickly, but in a big, and handle clients on your own as soon as possible, handle as much responsibility as soon as possible. Whereas in a big law firm, you may not get to even talk to a client in your first 2 years. Okay, they may never give you any chance to talk to a client because there are so many seniors, they'll talk to the client. You don't get to talk to the client. And in a big law firm, definitely your work passes through many layers of scrutiny. Whereas if you're in a small law firm, there is not so much scrutiny. You need to be self-sufficient, you need to be good, or you'll get fired. Okay. So in a smaller law firm, you have to learn faster than a bigger law firm. So here is what generally lawyers at different levels do. So you must be thinking now that, okay, all this is great, but what is the lawyer doing at different levels, right? You want to know that? If you want to know that, write yes in the chat. Do you want to know, or do you want me to skip this? What are the different levels of lawyers are doing? Because it is already 10:05. So if you want me to skip this, I'll understand. I'll skip. Okay. Everybody is saying yes. Nobody is saying no. Anybody in YouTube, do you want me to cover this or not? Say yes or no. In the chat, please, quickly. Yes, boom. All right. Okay, YouTube guys, quickly tell me. So here is, okay, I think we should cover it. Overwhelmingly, people are saying they want me to cover this. So here is what generally lawyers at different levels do. Okay, what do they do? Junior associate. So initially in the first 1 or 2 years, you are called a junior associate, even first 3 years. Next level is senior associate. Okay. And there are different names. Some people A0, A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay. Then you become a senior associate. Then you are SA1, SA2, SA3. And these things are generally looked at as how senior you are. So people will ask you, are you SA2 or SA3? Oh, I'm SA3. Okay. Then you are working with the SA for 3 years. Now, to become senior associate from junior associate, some people become senior associate after 3.5 years, 4 years. Some people take 5-6 years to become a senior associate. That is the difference, right? Some people take 5-6 years to become a senior associate. If you're very good, you become in 3 years, 3.5 years. Now, what does junior associate do? In a transactional law practice, junior associate do a lot of things, but due diligence, all the research work that seniors require, sometimes writing answers to legal questions and memos and queries from clients. You might draft a first draft. You are definitely going to do all the deal compliance, but majority of work, how you support in a transaction, initially you do due diligence, and you do deals. You do deal compliance, and also as you do these things well, then your seniors may ask you to also help them with some other work, which is drafting. So if you're doing good and they like what you're doing, they feel you're trustworthy, they might say, okay, help me with drafting these agreements. Then you will be drafting those agreements. Then if you're good at drafting, they might give you an opportunity to negotiate some agreements also. Initially, you will accompany them in the negotiation, making notes, listening to them, and as you learn more and more, someday you will step in and start negotiating. Okay, this is what junior associates do. Now, senior associate. If you're a senior associate, by now either you'll be expected to handle your own transactions, if possible, or you are helping another senior associate or a managing associate or principal associate to run a deal. Depends on how big a deal it is. If it is a big deal, then probably senior will handle it and you're assisting them. But some of the smaller deals you might be running independently. You are managing a team of junior associates, keeping an eye on them, getting them to work and all of that, right? So senior associate. Then there is principal associate. Now principal associate is like above senior associate and before becoming a partner. If you're a principal associate, you probably already have 6-7 years of experience, maybe 5 years of experience, rarely, in most cases 6, 7, 8 years of experience. And by this time, you can handle your own clients. Partner will give you transactions to run, right? Partner may pretend to the client that they are running it, but they are not running it. They are giving it to you to run the matter. And you are managing a team of senior associates, junior associates. You are responsible to decide. You, by this time, you start hiring people. You decide who to hire, who to fire. Partner will listen to you and do what you are saying. Okay. So principal associates are very powerful, and remember that you may not be able to befriend a partner because everyone wants to befriend the partner and they are too senior. But principal associate, nobody realizes because they don't know enough about law firms. Actually, the principal associates are the ones who have the power to recommend you for a job. Okay, so if you are good, then the principal associate should be impressed by you, or if a principal associate refers you, you have a good chance of getting a job in a law firm. So make the principal associates happy. Okay, so principal associate is the role of principal associate, and they are ready to become a partner. So they are good at their work and they are trying to bring in clients. If they can bring in clients their own, then they'll become partner faster, and they are trying to become partner, right? As soon as possible, in 1 or 2 years, 3 years, they want to become a partner. And then there's a partner. Now the partner's job is, sure, they add some value. They might be reviewing some work. If there is some big important opinion to be given, they might give it. But their role is limited in day-to-day legal work, except for giving advice and helping and all of that. But mostly, and their job is to get the work done. But many times their job is business oriented, right? Getting more work and so on. Is this hierarchy in India or foreign law firms too? Mostly I'm talking about Indian law firms. Foreign law firms, depending on the country, can vary, but I'm not going into it. It's too complicated. It'll take me another hour to explain how it works in UK, how it works in US. So Indian law firms, right? So this is in India. But even foreign law firms, kind of like this only. It's not that. There is some nuances, some differences, right? In some places, in India, for example, to become a partner, it takes anywhere between 7 to 10 years. In a smaller law firm, it may happen faster. Big law firm, definitely, usually 8, 9, 10 years, 12 years, right? But in foreign law firm, it may be different depending on which law firm we are talking about. There are some law firms where you don't become a partner before 15 years. Okay, and so on. Like many examples are there. So what the bigger question here is, what would cause faster than average growth? Okay, so do you want to know about this? This is a natural question that, okay, all this is fine, but as a lawyer, if I want to do well, what does it take? Okay, you want to know about that? Yep. Just say yes, no. Should I cover this aspect or should I jump to the next one? Should I cover this? Yes, in the chat. In the chat. YouTube people who are watching on YouTube saying nothing. Okay. Okay. I think overwhelmingly you want me to cover this. So let's jump in. So initially, when you are a junior lawyer, it is about supporting your reporting associate. Okay. So if you're reporting to a senior associate, then your job is to make them successful, make them a little less stressed getting their work done. Okay. What is happening? Make their lives easier. So if you can make their lives easier, if they get to go home early because you are there, just remember this principle. They should get to go home early because you are so good. So the work you are doing is reducing their burden, because most of the time they are told that, this is your job, get this done. So they are managing you. Your job is that, they are very happy. They can delegate work to you with their closed eyes. You're getting it done. You don't need them to train you much. Okay, if they have to correct you frequently, if they have to teach you a lot, then they'll hate you. If they have to stay back in the office because you are making mistakes, then God save you, right? Then they'll shout at you. It will be bad. They'll give bad reviews about you. So your job is to make them happy that they can go home early. Whatever work they are giving you is getting done, and they are giving you more and more work because you are getting things done so well, right? They can close their eyes and rely on you. If your firm can take more clients because they know the work will get delivered because you are there, so the firm can take more work. This is what you are trying to do. Okay, it is not to do your job the fastest, nothing. It's just that you are able to handle the work in a timeline, and because you are there, the senior associates are chilling. I mean, not chilling, they are also doing their work, but they are not overburdened, and they are not spending 1 hour, 2 hour a day correcting your work, explaining to you what to do. All this is very problematic. The more you can do on your own initiative without guidance, the better you are in a law firm. If you need a lot of guidance, then unless your senior associate is very sweet, very nice, you will be in problem. As you climb to mid-level from that junior level, it is about delivering work consistently with minimal intervention for superiors. Okay, that is the case even at junior level. But as more and more happens, it's like, okay, this person is almost like a PA. He's a senior associate, but he or she is almost like a PA, that he's running or she's running her own team, doing really great work, doesn't need any. We don't really need to check his work, and we can confirm whatever work they're doing without bothering too much. Okay, whatever we check, it is correct. There is no error, no mistake, it's going great, fantastic, right? This is what you want, delivering work consistently with minimal intervention from superiors, right? And running deals on your own without much, managing clients on your own without much intervention. This is the best situation. Okay, can you talk to a client and handle a mandate end to end without much problems, right? Can you understand and articulate what a client wants, right? So at junior level, you don't need this, but as you are in mid level, can you understand what the client is saying, what they want, what is their business situation, how to apply the law to that business situation and give them a solution? Can you propose a solution independently that the client appreciates and is very happy to pay for that client to the firm? Will a client reach out to you directly next time they have a problem because they trust you and rely on you? This is what you want to achieve with clients, right? The clients like your advice and your support so much that they want to talk to you, not other lawyers in the firm. After a point, you max out as someone who is a workhorse, right? So now, so far what you're discussing, you're a workhorse, you get a lot of work done for the firm, and firm, the client work is happening smoothly. There is no challenge in getting the work done. Your bosses are happy. They are going home early. They are sleeping well at night because you are doing the work, right? That's great. But sometimes this will not be enough. Like, you max out doing this as a workhorse, and then your growth will depend on bringing work to the firm as a business generator. You are going out and clients are coming to the firm because you are there. Maybe you are so good at your work that people are coming. Maybe you have such good relationship in the industry, people are coming. Could be anything, but your growth will depend on bringing work to the firm. There are two kinds of partners in law firms: rainmakers and executors. Rainmakers get more success, more equity, more this thing. Executors, they are also important, but not as important as rainmakers in most places. I'm just saying my observation that people who are rainmaker partners get more money, get more promotions, get more equity. Executors are also important. They get good salary only. It's not like they do badly. but everybody knows that rainmakers are getting more. Okay, so best are able to do both. So very good lawyers are executors as well as rainmakers and do both. But growth of the firm depends so much on rainmaking, bringing in new clients usually. And execution is also very important. If execution doesn't happen, you bring in client and work is not happening, you are screwed, right? So you should be able to ideally do both. But rainmaking partners, there's a lot of focus on them in growing law firms. But if it is a stagnant law firm, that's a different situation, right? It's different in law firms that are not growing substantially anymore. And also in a lot of law firms, so many law firms have split, partners have left, rent-making partners have left with clients. So now those law firms prefer executors that, you don't have to do any rent-making. Please let us find the clients. You just stay here and work. We prefer those kind of people rather than people who bring a lot of client and then leave to start their own law firm. That's also true. Okay. But for yourself, it is better if you're a rainmaker, because honestly, that's a very important skill in law firms, that being able to bring clients, that's highly prized. What are the benefits of working in a small law firm? Okay. You may get to run your own transactions sooner. If you work in a smaller law firm, in a boutique law firm, even within the first 1 or 2 years, you're handling clients, you're running entire transactions, managing team. Okay, then because if you have the merit, you'll be able to do it. Then transition to a bigger law firm. So many people in a smaller law firm want to go join bigger law firm. Okay, and then maybe you can start your own practice also, your own law firm, your own small boutique law firm. And it makes a lot of sense, right? A lot of lawyers do that. And it may be better to start your own practice than join a big law firm monetarily, how much money you'll make. There are a lot of my friends who have started their own law firms and earned 1 crore, 2 crore by running their own practice. If they joined a big law firm, they would have a lot more, they'll be answerable to their bosses, they'll have a lot more work. But when they're doing it on their own, they're able to hire their own people and transfer the work, and they may not be working as much as if they have worked in a big law firm. That is after some stability, right? And they have more freedom, independence. Many people like that, so they start their own law firms. Okay, but wherever you are, whatever you do, you should be trying to develop your own clients, own team, reputation, people who trust you, people who believe you, people who want to work with you, people who value your expertise and your opinion, right? So the more you develop that, then more you will grow and you will become a very important person in your area of practice. People look up to you like that, right? That is what your overall goal is. Doesn't matter whether you're a small law firm, big law firm, because if you are able to do this, no matter where you are, you will be very successful. There are a lot of small law firms. Their partners are able to charge more than partners in a big law firm. Okay, so and then big law firms are trying to buy the small law firms because they cannot have the same reputation. They are not able to build. So they are trying to buy the small law firms, okay, for many, many crores. Okay, many lawyers start their own law firms as entry barrier is very low. So starting, if you are a good lawyer, you have some, reputation in the market, starting a law firm is not too difficult in India. Vis-a-vis, let's say in England, starting a law firm is much more difficult. Okay, you need license, you need like professional insurance, which can be very expensive, and so many difficulties are there. But when you are starting your own law firm in India, the entry barrier is so low that many people start their own law firms. So how many of you want to work in big law firm? Write big law firm. How many want to eventually start your own law firm? Write own law firm in the chat. Quick, I want to see how many of you want to join a big law firm. How many of you want to start your own law firm? Okay, some people want to work at Magic Circle. That's also a big law firm, no problem. Okay, lots of people want to start your own law firm. That's awesome, right? Big law, and nothing is a wrong choice. All are great choices. Okay. So how is automation changing things? Now in all of this, remember that automation is law firm automation is a real thing. Artificial intelligence is changing some of the things. Like when I was a lawyer in trilegal, a lot of my time was going in due diligence, sitting and going through documents, reviewing them, filling up a table and so on, right? But automation is making a lot of things very different today. For example, you have like doing the deal compliance has become very easy. There are deal compliance softwares which makes the entire process very smooth. There are due diligence softwares which is doing what earlier, like one of the partners at Shardul Amarchand recently did a session with us, and he said we were doing a session few while back at Mumbai National University, and there he said that earlier the work that was being done by 4 junior lawyers, now we need only 1. Why? Because that work is being done by software. It's become so much easier. Okay. So this is one problem. And I have talked to so many partners in different law firms. They say, yes, we are facing a problem that if the work could be automated so much in the junior level work, senior level work is not automated. I don't know, it may take 50 years, 100 years before it is automated. But junior level, repetitive work, grunt work is getting automated, which means now they need less and less junior lawyers. And then the question is that if there are few junior lawyers, then how will they get trained to be mid-level, senior level, right? So these are a lot of questions that law firms also don't know the answers to. They are hiring fewer junior lawyers today than they used to, except for practice is growing, so they are hiring more. Otherwise, for the same size of practice, they need fewer junior lawyers. Also, clients are not so willing to pay for junior lawyers when there is so much technology available to automate some of the tasks. So it is a challenge before, it's a challenge for a lot of law firms, okay? And it's a challenge for you as well, because earlier, if you could join a law firm with no knowledge, no experience, today, the barrier for getting into a law firm, the knowledge barrier, the skill barrier is higher. You should be able to do more, okay? There was a time when knowing good English and having a good score in college was enough to get into a good law firm. If you are from a good law college, a good score, it was enough to get into a law firm. But now people are not so happy with just that, because that responsibility of junior lawyers is more. Expectation from junior lawyers has increased. There was a time, Nitin Poddar, JSA partner, has said in one of our webinars that there was a time when there are only few laws in corporate law practice. When he says, when I started in 1990, there's hardly any laws for corporate lawyers to follow. Today, there are so many laws, so many regulations, so many rules, so many different things that you have to follow, by this policy, that policy. Now, it's much more complicated. And so earlier, if you were joining the law firm, you didn't need to know so many things. But now, if you join a law firm, if you don't know all these things, you will be disappointing your senior associate. That will be a big problem, right? So you need to know a lot more today when you're joining, and automation is making things harder for you. Okay, this is reality. What would law firms expect from you at different levels? Okay, what work do you have to do as an entry-level lawyer in a law firm, and how do you prepare for that? So one thing that I want to tell you is that you should learn the statutes and regulations you will deal with. So if you are going to work in banking, finance, if you want to work in M&A, investment law, whatever, so in that area, whatever statutes and regulations and stuff that applies, policies, government policies, you should know those things, regulatory policies, circulars, whatever. Because if you know that, you will be starting at a comfortable place. If you don't know that, it's very hard when you are trying to learn all these things and you are asked to deliver work within a time frame. Okay, how many of have got such work in a law firm has struggled to deliver? Has it ever happened to you? You can be honest and say, yes, it happened to me, right? It's a big, very, very big problem. Okay, you have faced this, Nitika? Yes, right? So even others, anybody else who have done an internship or a job and struggled in a law firm to deliver, right? So many other people, right? Okay. Understand. I mean, many people are not saying, they have faced, but they are not saying anything, right? Swati, yeah. You have to understand the concepts, right? So for example, inside due diligence, what are the different types of work going on? What are the, different concepts about due diligence, about deal structuring, all these, like, share, like I said, convertible debentures, compulsorily convertible debentures, or whatever, like, some preference shares, so many different concepts are there, right? Private equity, venture capital, they are different business interests, the way they do their business, right? What are the different kind of acquirers? Why do they acquire? So the more concepts you know, better off you will be. Different kind of deal structures you have to learn, right? Concepts about it. How does deal structure impact due diligence and documentation, right? So that you need to understand at a conceptual level. Learn about the industries and the clients for which you will be working, right? For example, if you are working with in capital markets, right, you will be dealing with investment bankers. Investment bankers have their own lawyers, right? So what is the role of investment banker? What is underwriting? You need to know a lot of concepts. What is a DRHP, draft red herring prospectus? Okay. There are different levels of work that is done by them. You have to, at every level, there are hundreds of concepts and you need to be clear about them. And if you're clear about them, you'll be able to perform. If not, then you'll struggle, obvious, right? Different kind of clauses you'll have to draft and what effects they have. When should you draft a tag along clause? Where do you put it? What is a drag along clause? Where do you put it? Okay, so many concepts and hundreds of different kind of clauses. What are the different compliances you have to do for different kind of deals, right? When do you need to fill up a 𝘂𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗹 form? By when do you need to file it? Okay, maybe you have some compliances under competition law. Maybe you have some compliances with the MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So you have to learn all these things. Kshitij, no IP today. Okay, IP we covered for 1 month in November. What's the matter with you? You want to do more IP? Okay, so what are the different compliances you have to do for different kinds of deals? Learn the work, and apart from the concepts, you have to actually learn how to do the work, right? How to conduct a due diligence, right? When what is the process step by step of conducting a due diligence? For example, you have to prepare an information requisition list or an information requisition request. How do you prepare that? What research you have to do to prepare that, right? How to draft different kind of agreements, right? And how to negotiate, right? If you have to draft a business transfer agreement, for example, right here, how to draft a business transfer agreement, right? What are the clauses in it? How to draft a shareholder agreement, share subscription agreement, right? All these things you have to learn. Okay, then how to do different compliances? What is the entire list of compliances you have to do? What are the challenges you might face at different stages? How to navigate various regulators, right? All these things you need to learn. Okay. So my advice is that you should make a specific list of skills that you need to learn. Okay, what are the different skills that you need to learn? You should be having a list with yourself so that you can learn them one by one. Okay. Rishabh wants to go off track. I'm not going off track right now. Sorry. Okay. Don't take chance and invest. Only invest in something when you know what you are investing in. Okay. So we have done the work of making the list for you, because for our students, we already have these things, right? So I'll show you. I'll share the link with you. Is there anybody in the course who is doing our M&A investment law course? Is there anybody? Nitika, so is there anybody else who's doing a course? Okay, so don't worry, I'm not asking you to buy any course. I'm going to show you a list of you have completed it. Swati is doing it. Great. So I'm going to show you the list of tasks that you should be knowing if you're a M&A lawyer, right? Yeah, so here is a list of tasks. For example, you should go and check this out. Okay, specific learning objectives. Learn about different kinds of M&A transaction structures and difference between. Understand the cost and steps involved in undertaking a business transfer, asset purchase, share acquisition, merger, how to choose the right transaction methods for merger and acquisition. There's a lot of lists. I don't want to cover, as you can see, it's a huge list, right? Learn about the different types of credit facilities that can be provided by banks. Okay, I'm going to just simply share the list with all of you guys. Okay, you got it? Okay. And similarly, this is for M&A, right? M&A course. You can even find the course on banking, finance, law course. So different work transact. There will be some difference, right? So where is our course? Here, correct? So you can see here this link. You can see for if you want to know what is the different tasks in banking and finance, that you can read here. All right, you guys can just Google and see. I'm not going to waste time on this. Back to the presentation. Okay, so how do we help in 𝘂𝗃𝗂 if you want to, do this? There are weekly assignments where you will be given real life tasks that you might be doing in a law firm, so that you can get familiar with the tasks and you can learn. Even if you make mistakes, no problem. Or there are evaluators who will give you feedback. You are encouraged to write and publish articles. We provide you with specific classes to write and publish articles. Okay, so that you can build a good profile, so that you can be an attractive hire for a law firm. Then building good social media presence. We have recently started coaching you on how to build good social media presence, because during the pandemic it has become even more important to have a good social media presence to get noticed. Identifying people you should impress. This is what I advise. You should do this always. Make a list of 30 people you want to impress, so you can get a recommendation from them. So they'll help you. They're so impressed by you that they are ready to help you. Okay, recommend you. People say that I have no connection, nobody will recommend me. I'm not from a family where my parents could recommend me. They don't know anybody. But I built a network. I connected with people. I helped people with my work. So they are impressed by my work. So they'll be happy to recommend me, right? This is what you want to do. You want to impress people who will be and create a network, professional network of people who will be happy to recommend you. Then you get support from 𝘂𝗃𝗂 Placement Office, which is there to guide you, help you, connect you with specific opportunities, internships, job applications, all of that. You get mentorship from our placement people, right? There are internship opportunities we'll connect you with, job opportunities we'll connect with. There is also CV and application review. So you are applying to a law firm, you want us to review your application, you want to check your CV, you want us to check your CV and give you feedback, we'll do that also. There is interview prep support. So if you have got an interview, you want to prepare for the interview, please let us know. We will help you. Okay, our placement office will help you. So that's it about 𝘂𝗃𝗂. Now we have some more webinars coming up, which you'll find relevant. If you like today's webinar, you'll like to attend these webinars also. So tomorrow I am doing a webinar on major red flag issues in legal due diligence that reduce valuation or make investors back out, right? So if you want to understand due diligence tomorrow, great opportunity, join me. We'll talk about due diligence. You'll learn so much about it. You'll get a view of how it is to work on due diligence in a law firm, what you have to do, free of cost. You learn from me, right? So no problem. How the new agricultural reforms. So there are new agricultural bill passed, right? And the farmers are protesting these bills. But lawyers should be very happy because of these laws, because these laws is creating a huge opportunity for legal work in contract drafting, merger and acquisition, investment law, and technology law. So if you want to be a corporate lawyer, it is good news for you. There will be a lot more work in the industry, from the agricultural industry, agro industry. And I'm going to tell you why and how, where the new opportunities are getting created, so you can actually grab those opportunities, prepare yourself for those opportunities. December 8th, I have a webinar on what can I do as a law graduate struggling to find a job, right? So if you're a law graduate already, you're not finding a job, I'm going to train you for 1 year about things you can do so that you are highly prepared. You can take the advantages going forward and take opportunities going forward and actually land a job within 2-3 months. I'm going to train you for that. So even if you're not a law graduate, even if you're a law student, still attend it, because whatever I'll teach you, you can also implement those knowledge and tricks. Then you will not be a law graduate looking for a job. You will get a job before you graduate. Okay. what you should do. You should try to get a PPO before you even graduate. Okay, how can I develop a career in patent law? This I'll be covering. If anybody is interested in patent law specifically, this is there on December 9. Why December 10? Why are so many lawyers underpaid in India and what they can do about it? So if you are a lawyer who's not getting paid enough in your job, it is basically because of a skill deficit. Okay, but I will explain to you how to break free from the cycle where you're getting a low paid job, then you join the next job, they give you a small hike on that, but in the end of the day you remain paid very less. So how can you change that? How can you be a well paid lawyer? How can you jump into a job which pays double, triple the amount? What to do? How can you get that? So I'm going to help you with that. On December 10, December 11, what does it take to earn at least 2 lakhs per month as a lawyer? Self-explanatory. Okay, especially those of you who want to start your own law firm, your own law practice independently, they'll benefit a lot from this. December 12, what are the skills that can help me to get a job as a corporate lawyer in 2021? What are the new opportunities that have come up in 2021? What is the new trend? What is the situation? How to take advantage of the situation? How to prepare yourself for the new challenges? I'll teach you. December 13, how does corporate law as a career compare with litigation? So if you want to do litigation, you're trying to decide, should I do corporate law? Should I do litigation? This is the webinar to attend. What kind of clients pay the most money to corporate lawyers? What are their expectations? So I will train you about this on December 14. And on 15, I'll tell you what are the disadvantages of becoming a corporate lawyer. What are the problems you'll face if you become a corporate lawyer? But I'll also tell you how to solve those problems. And what are the alternative opportunities? I'll tell you on December 15. Okay. There are also going to be 2 free workshops. Okay. One workshop is 7th December, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. How to plan your 5 years if you are not getting into a top ranked law school. The second one, there's a typo. It is 16th of December. Please book your slots. Okay. Inside the workings of a 1 crore per year corporate law practice and how to set it up. Okay. It's on 16th of December, not 7th of December. So I am going to talk about these things. So who all want to join me on the 7th and 16th December? So 7th workshop, 16th workshop. How many of you want to be on the 6th workshop? Sorry, 7th workshop. How many of you want to be there in the 7th December workshop? Tell me in the chat quickly. If you are going to be there on 7th, write 7. If you're going to be on 16th, write 16. If you are going to be on both, write 7 and 16. Okay, do not miss these workshops any cost. Block your time already. We're not charging anything. Normally we can even charge for these workshops, but it's free of cost. And my goal in December is to change your life before the next year starts. Okay, so be there. Okay, and we'll make sure that 2021 is exciting and amazing. Okay, and tomorrow, see you, major red flag issues in legal due diligence. We'll be discussing this. Okay, you can send me your pain points and problems on Twitter so I can help you. Okay, do you have my Twitter? I already shared my Twitter above, but if you want to share again, just tell me and I'll share again. And if you can DM me if you want to talk privately. This is the WhatsApp group. I'll share the link with all of you here. Oops, what is going on? Okay, join this WhatsApp group if you haven't joined it yet. Where is the YouTube video? Yep, found it. Here is the link, guys, to join the WhatsApp group for those people who want to become a corporate lawyer or you want a corporate law job. You are already a corporate lawyer. Please join this group so that you can keep getting all the content that we share. Right here is the link. So how many of you are joining on 7th? How many on 16th? Tell me once more. I missed it. Okay, let me scroll up and see. Yeah, okay. Both. Okay, both. Very good. Awesome, guys. Okay. So you want to register for the workshop, right? For the 7th and 13th. Let me share the Oh no, the pages are not ready. I have to make the pages, then only I will share. Sorry, I will share it soon. Join the WhatsApp group, I'll share it there. Okay, I will share in the WhatsApp group, join the WhatsApp group. How many of you are already in the WhatsApp group? Say yes or joined so that I know. How many of you are not there? Say I'm going to join. Pankaj, the workshop does not happen on YouTube ever. You have to be on the WhatsApp group. You have shared the WhatsApp group link. Join there because it will not be there on YouTube at all. Okay. And all of you, please follow me on Twitter. Here is the link. Please follow me on Twitter so that if you have any questions, if you want to keep in touch with me, you can keep in touch with me through here. Okay. So please make sure you are in touch so that you can be, if you have any questions, and share with me your insights and your questions. If you have any questions, right, about stuff, you can question me. You can go on Twitter and DM me. You can tweet at me. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me and giving me your time today generously. Hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, I want to know how will you rank this session? Let's say 0 being pathetic and 10 being absolutely best possible. How much will you give out of 0 to 10? How much marks will you give me for today's session? And if you give me less than 10, also tell me how can I improve in your opinion? What can I do better for you? What more value I can give you in the future? Also tell me in the chat, what did you learn in today's session that you're going to take away and implement in your life? What are you going to implement? I said so many things, but what are you going to implement in your life from here? Okay, most of you are giving me 10 out of 10. Thank you very much. Madhavan has given me 7. Please tell me how can I improve. Madhavan would love to know. Arrange more corporate law webinar. Adil, this month I'll do a lot of corporate law webinar. You'll be very happy. Okay. Shivangi, tell me how can I improve. Okay. Maybe privately tell me on Twitter if you don't want to tell me publicly. If you want to tell me publicly, it's fine. You can tell me. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being there with me till the end. I really appreciate. I'll do a session on corporate litigation absolutely in the future. Absolutely. Why one? I'll do many. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Definitely looking forward to meet you all tomorrow. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.